Hello, welcome to A Day with the Cart Driver. I'm Scamp.
And I'm Day.
And what season are we covering?
We're covering the winter 2018, which was a great season. And by great, I mean Michiru Neko aired.
Oh.
We can get to that later, though. I don't think that's what you wanted to open with.
No. Normally I re-open with something that, whatever the biggest thing of the season is. But I think this one is worth mentioning because it's probably the Is this the biggest show this season?
No, actually, I don't think it is.
Okay, so which is bigger? Violet Evergarden, Place Further Than the Universe, Devilman Crybaby.
Well, I will point out that Place Further Than the Universe made end-of-year lists in publications that don't normally discuss anime.
I know because I know the writer who put it there. Yes.
Wait, in which publication are you discussing?
Oh, damn, I don't remember now. But yeah, I know there was...
I know it made an end-of-the-year list in the New York Times.
That's the one I'm talking about, yes.
Yeah.
The writer who did
So I know apparently that did well enough that even though it was on Crunchyroll, mainstream publications overseas were aware of it and telling people, yo, check this out.
That said...
I feel like Violet Evergarden's a weird example, though, because it being on Netflix.
But I thought it was a big hit on Netflix. And it's beloved.
I don't know. I feel like it's one of those shows... I don't know. I actually don't really remember. I didn't watch it until this past summer.
Yeah.
Which I suppose gets a part of why you want to front load it in the first place,
with,
though.
Violet Evergarden. We're talking about this because Violet Evergarden is probably the most gorgeous piece of
TV animation.
Yes, in terms of perhaps I think there's things that maybe look like I prefer the look of, say, Mob Psycho. But
in terms of quality of
attention to detail, I think is maybe one of the best ways to put it. Attention to detail, high quality. KyoAni's always had great animation.
This is the one that even if you know nothing else about it, which seems unlikely, or if you've never seen any of it, you probably know what I'm talking about when I say the typewriter scene involving the woman with mechanical hands.
Oh, where they all break open.
Because I know that was that was put in the promo material.
Yeah.
And people were losing it over how high quality, the level of detail and the level of fluidity to the scene.
Yeah. So it really felt like KyoAni flexing. Almost.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it was...
Having said that, see, what's causing me to hesitate a little bit is that I know that a lot of people, the visuals were very well regarded, but I also know a lot of people were left a little bit cold by the overall story.
Yeah. So you've seen it. I didn't, but I don't like anything by KyoAni. And I think
You liked Full Metal Panic.
I liked the first season of Full Metal. So I'm a bad person to ask, and I felt like hearing the reviews of this felt like it was a lot of what KyoAni's writing style usually doesn't gel with me.
One of the central drivers of the story is that the lead she's a former child soldier.
Yeah. And
she herself doesn't seem to have a lot of, interior life. She struggles mightily in the early going with understanding, why other people behave the way they do. She ends up taking a job as, they call them, what are they called? They're like automatic dolls. Well, yes, but no also.
Yeah.
It's very specifically, is it called automatic dolls? They're referred to as dolls. They're primarily women who do the profession, and what they do is they take... people come to them to write letters for them.
Oh, okay.
Not in necessarily I am illiterate sense, although there are definitely people who seem to be that's the case. But it's also people who are struggling to, I am feeling in all these ways and I really want to convey that to someone, but I don't know how to, and I'm struggling and I need help.
So like a ghostwriter.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. A ghostwriter for love letters.
Well, not just love letters, so there's that, but it's also, There's one where a soldier's dying and he's trying to write a letter to his parents, basically, to say goodbye. There's another one where it's an injured veteran who he's become a drunken waste of space, is trying to convey his apologies to his sister for being useless, and the fact that he feels a sense of survivor's guilt. So the one that really got me was one where a woman is, well, spoilers, but it turns out that she is trying to write a set of letters for her daughter because she's very ill and she's probably going to die, and she wants to write birthday letters to her daughter for the next, 20 years of the girl's life.
Okay.
That was a good episode. Anyway, I've gone on a bit.
Well, no, because you've actually seen the show and I haven't. But, isn't that a bad job to give to someone who is functionally autistic?
Well, yes, that's kind of the point.
Okay.
She's terrible at the job. She's excellent at typing because they're typing. Yeah. And that's the thing, too. A lot of these, even people who aren't illiterate in the show don't necessarily have much in the way of typing skills. Because it's
the one index finger.
Well, I do that, but I also type 100 words per minute, so... It takes place in a post-war society that the war that took place is very loosely World War I-esque. And the society itself is kind of Edwardian, turn of the century, early 20th century. I don't want to go so far as to say it's steampunk because I think that way overplays.
Way further than that.
Well, no, it's just that's not the right way to put it. There are mechanical...
There's a term for this. Oh, because I looked it up. It's not steampunk. It's like chrome punk or something like that.
Anyway, because the thing is you have side by side with...
Diesel punk.
People...
There we go.
But that's not it really either.
Okay.
It's just that there are prosthetics. There are highly advanced prosthetics present in the world, but computers don't exist and everybody's using typewriters. There's steam engines, but no one's using it. There's technology that wouldn't have existed in the actual world version of that, but it's also not check out our amazing airships type thing. There's not it. Yeah. For all intents and purposes, it's an alternate world, semi-Edwardian era. Edwardian era, of course, ended with World War I. So it's that kind of setting. Yes, and that's the point. She's a terrible fit for the job off the bat. But the person who employs her is someone... So her commander in the war had asked his friend... not, of course, I guess he didn't realize, dude, that's a giant death flag. Don't do that shit. You're gonna die now. He asked his friend, another officer, hey, if, I die, can you please make sure that Violet Evergarden, she has a place in the world, basically, because she's a child soldier. And her commander in the war himself felt a lot of conflict over the fact that she didn't view herself any more highly than that. There's a brooch she wears throughout the show that he gave her, and anyway, I don't want to go on at too much length about it because you didn't watch it at all. But like I said, it was one of those shows that I know people are like, wow, this is visually amazing, and it has its moments, but on the whole, there's a slight gap between how people felt like they should have felt about it versus how they actually felt about it.
Yeah.
I think at its best, it's fantastic. I also think that it's, on the whole, not one of their more heartfelt works. I think is the best way of putting it.
It's like it struggled to get the emotional resonance it was aiming for.
Yes, and because Violet herself is such a blank from the outset, which, yes, it's the point, show's about her adjusting from having been a child soldier, but it also makes it a little bit more difficult to connect with her at the beginning. The supporting cast is pretty good. There is one woman who I do want to say to whoever picked the character design at KyoAni, like, everyone else in this show is wearing clothing that makes sense. Why on earth is this woman a, like, cleavage explosion? It just... No one else dresses like this in the show.
Look, she just... If you got it, flaunt it.
Well, but it's weird within the show because she's working in this office and everybody else is dressed... You know, in a range of stuff that's like, oh, well...
Period appropriate.
Yes, and, you know, office appropriate, but she just, like, her shirt's cut way, way, way low, and it's like, I think you're trying to convey her that she may have worked in, because there's a reference made to her having been a dancer, and it's kind of like, I think you're trying to reference that she may have been in sex trade adjacent work during the war, but... This feels weird. Also, too, I have a sense of her being... She's noticeably darker skinned than the rest of the cast and has darker hair. And you do have a sense of, like, oh, this is kind of a, Romani-esque depiction.
Not that she's a Kogao.
No. No, not at all. It's just a few things taken together. It's like... I don't know, Japan. You don't usually do depictions of Romani folk too well.
Yeah.
Thinking of the not particularly great approach that the first Full Metal Alchemist movie had with the Romani woman. But, you know, that's getting way off track. Yes, it's good. It could have been great, and it wasn't quite great.
And the reason you watched...
the reason I watched it was, well... The KyoAni studio fire this summer, the massacre.
That's still kind of, I mean, shocking on a...
Oh, God, it's completely shocking.
It's like, it's the most fatal...
I remember you woke me up.
Yeah,
I had to go to work, didn't I? And I kept checking it throughout my shift because you told me, and at first, I mean, it wasn't clear what on earth had happened.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of the people listening to this podcast are probably American, so when I was getting up for shift for it, like, it was just starting to happen. Yeah. I mean, I still think it's very difficult to wrap one's head around it because it's just such a shocking thing.
Yeah,
it's you know, for one thing, it's like, something that is, you know, first of all, you don't get those sorts of mass murders in Japan for the most part.
Like, there's the famous one being the sarin gas attacks.
Yes.
Which, like, obviously that one's a little different because, like, 100 plus people were, like, fell ill as a result.
Oh, but, God, like, it was hundreds more than that.
Oh, really?
It was, like, in excess of 600-something people.
Yeah, but, like, how many people died? It was, like, 15.
Yes, also, that's... I don't think that's a great comparison point anyway because, well, for one thing, there were multiple people involved.
Yeah, that was a coordinated terrorist
attack. And it was
attack.
more specifically a terrorist attack.
Yes. Whereas this is just one guy who... Do we know? Because he's alive, isn't he? The guy who attacked.
He is, but he's in the hospital. I don't think he's in a state where they've actually been able to question him yet.
Oh.
Based on the latest news reports.
Yeah, that's still ongoing, like, I don't know.
Well, and as I said, first of all, mass murders are just not that common. Second of all, the idea that you'd have something like this within the anime industry.
Yeah.
I think we're accustomed to the idea that the idol industry has issues with crazed fans and with people who are stalking performers.
Yes.
And because I remember actually like 2 or 3 years ago, there was the young woman who was attacked with a machete during one of those meet and greets.
Yes.
And, you know, there just within the past year, there was the one involving one of the AKB spin-off groups where one of the performers was attacked and turned out it was probably coordinated by other members of the group. Yeah. Are you not familiar with that? Yes, it turned into a big scandal because she was made to apologize initially for causing a fuss.
Oh, I remember that, yes.
Yes,
I remember the forced apology.
And the producer ended up getting canned and a lot of people lost their jobs over it because people reacted like, this is outrageous.
Because usually
she's been stalked and she was attacked and she tried to get help with it and you're acting like she's somehow done something wrong.
Yeah. So like you're used to the anime industry having lots of...
not the anime industry, but sort of some of the adjacent entertainment industries having issues with failures to protect performers against weirdos. But this is just...
Because there's a gap between, like, because the drawings ultimately is that there's still ultimately a gap between the crazed fans, because anime, it's not like anime doesn't have crazed fans.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of them.
There's still a gap between the crazed fans and then there's the drawing and then there's the people behind the drawing.
Well, we don't usually hear very often when you have had threats against...
Yeah.
Because in the wake of the fire, the president of KyoAni was talking about, like, well, we've gotten threats, but we referred them to the police. I'm thinking about, there have been some cases where people were arrested for threatening people who were, directly involved with the anime industry, but we probably don't hear about a lot of things threats against studios and such because, well, let's face it, there are a lot of people out there threatening to do a lot of terrible things to various entities.
I mean, we've got it in the local newspaper when I used to work there, so...
Hey, I got death threats on my blog sometimes, so...
Oh, well, yeah.
And also, too, because we're not looking... I mean, I don't sit around reading Japanese news that often, and even if you do, like, times when I read the Asahi Shimbun or, Yomiuri, and... It's not like that's something that gets covered.
No.
It's a niche type of thing.
But I remember just on the day itself,
I don't know. The whole thing just...
There was the fire, and then it was like... And it's like, oh, it's a fire. It's like, hopefully everyone's okay. And then it comes out like...
Well, at first it's like, oh, there were 13 bodies. Ooh, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's 22. Oh, now it's 35. And it was just...
It was like, I think it was the report of how they just opened, like, the first floor, and it was just...
stairs.
I still don't know. I haven't... I mean, we're going to get all the answers eventually, I hope.
I doubt
but
it.
But
you never get all the answers in things like this. Some things are just...
And because the guy was thrown around like...
he threw gasoline around. Everywhere.
So like but the speed at which it would blown up in fire, I mean, it being an anime studio...
They said part of the issue was, first of all, production materials were highly flammable, but it was the spiral staircase.
Oh.
It basically acted as a chimney.
Oh, one of those cases.
Because it wasn't fully enclosed. Think about the way stairs are in most office buildings and the way that they're enclosed.
Yeah.
They have those heavy doors. But with this staircase, that wasn't the case.
Oh, it didn't have doors. That's bad fire safety right there.
Well, it is.
It's the very definition of bad fire. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Again,
I mean,
I was
talking about.
I was working in a newspaper in London when Grenfell happened. So.
Well, I still cannot. I am absolutely shocked that you could ever build a building like that and only have one staircase in it.
Yeah.
That's just... I find that genuinely unbelievable. But I also find it unbelievable that it didn't have a sprinkler system. That blows my mind. That's not legal in many countries.
Yeah. But yeah, so KyoAni now, like, so after Violet Evergarden...
But, we're talking about a lot of things that are beside the point. The fact is, this is a very shocking occurrence. The loss of life involved is... I also think about, for the people who did survive, KyoAni's not that big of a company.
No.
I can't even imagine being in a situation where half the people I work with in a building are dead suddenly.
Yes.
One day you go into work and the next day half of your colleagues are dead.
There's a massive percentage of people who make up KyoAni. Like, ultimately, it's just an animation studio. There's only so many people who work there.
And it's also not like a Sunrise type studio.
Yeah, they make
huge.
They'll make one TV series and one movie a year. Maybe like 2 TV series. Yeah, because they made after Violet Evergarden, they made the Archery Boys. Yeah, Archery
Boys,
which
I didn't see because it was kind of like.
And didn't get great
reviews.
And they made Liz and the Blue Bird, and then like a free movie.
They were working on the Violet Evergarden, 2 different Violet Evergarden movies. One actually just came out, which is a side story, I think. The compilation type one was supposed to come out in January of 2020, but it's been pushed back. It's just... Yeah, because there was something like 75 people working in the building, and the death toll was like 36.
It's gone up. One other person has died, and there's still people like as a result.
And there's still people in comas. They're probably not going to wake up. And I want to say that KyoAni's total employed figures are like maybe 200 people.
Yes, it was something like it. I
keep thinking back to actually September 11th. When you had companies like Cantor Fitzgerald, probably the one that lost the most in the Twin Towers, where you just, like 200, 300 employees are just gone. I don't know. I can't. I also, look, we don't usually expect companies like animation studios to have to contend with that sort of loss of life, because why would they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I really can't wrap my head around it.
There's never been anything like this in anime. It's
shocking.
There's barely ever been anything like this in Japan. Forget
Japan. This isn't something that you have in most places. The world do not have this kind of thing happen to a company.
Like, consider like people shooting up Charlie Hebdo, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but on a much larger scale. It's Yeah.
But I decided to go back because I'd seen the first episode of Violet Evergarden when it came out, but this was a Netflix license. So then, of course, I didn't end up watching any more of it just because, I don't know. I know people fan subbed it, but in this day and age...
Yeah, making the effort to go get fan subs sometimes.
And also, too, while I liked the first episode, it was sort of in a... There are so many shows that I watched the first episode of, or the first couple of episodes of, and I like them perfectly decently, but then I never watched the rest of it. So, and it's not as if the shows are bad. It's just there's only so much time in a person's life, and at this time this wasn't too long after I'd moved again. And you were living in another country, and just there's a lot going on. So I went back and because I didn't. What do you do with something like, oh hey, this animation studio in another country who's made all this stuff I love. They've been attacked, and a ton of their employees have been murdered, and it's, well, what do you do? I'm just a person on the other side of the planet. What could I possibly do toward that? And yes, I know that there were funding efforts and everything, but there's such a remove there in a physical space, and trying to express one's sympathies to survivors and the families of people who died. And so I decided to watch the rest of Violet Evergarden, because it was like, well, how do you honor these people? Well, you watch something that they made, and I'm glad I did. And again, there's a lot that I like about it. I just it could have been great.
Yeah.
And now I'll go completely into having spoken about like grief and loss and all that. Now I'm going to say Violet Evergarden is if Sora no Woto is actually any good.
Okay.
Well, it's a similar thing.
I can...
demobilizing soldiers having to contend with like, oh, we're not at war anymore. Now what?
What is your favorite KyoAni then? We might as well cover it here. What's your favorite KyoAni?
Oh, man.
Kyoka? What else is even in contention?
Well, Hyoka... Okay, I really loved the first season of Free.
Oh, okay.
Look, the sport I did growing up is not one that often gets depicted in fiction.
Oh, right, yeah. Competitive swimming
in any but the trashiest fashion. And when I say that, I can even then only think of 2 examples. Blue Crush and... Oh, God, what was the name of that one? Umibo... It aired in like 2004 or 5.
Okay,
It was, yeah. I think that the girl in Peach Girl also, she swims. But
okay.
It's not like that's about the swimming. So, Free meant a lot to me as yes, I know, shirtless boys.
Yes.
That's not why I watched it, though. That
yeah.
sounds ridiculous, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
Because, quite frankly, 15-year-old anime boys with no shirts doesn't do much for me.
Okay.
Especially not at my age.
Ooh.
Free, Hyoka. What else?
Silent Voice, did you like?
I liked a Silent Voice. I wouldn't put it in... It's one of my favorites, though. I don't know.
Big fan of Haruhi Suzumiya.
Oh, God, I hate that show.
I know you used to like all the old key stuff.
I did at the times that I watched them.
Yeah.
I would never go back and watch them because I'm sure I wouldn't like them as much.
Canon is awful.
I know.
Oh my God.
But I enjoyed it at the time, okay?
Okay.
And you know what? That's fine, too.
Okay.
There are definitely...
I enjoyed Love Hina at the time.
There are definitely anime that... There's nothing wrong with having enjoyed something at a particular time in your life that you probably wouldn't like anymore if you went back to it. Mm-hmm. There is plenty of room for those sorts of shows.
Yeah.
And I did. I enjoyed Canon. Air's kind of a mess, but it's... I think... Air is their messiest, but it's also probably the most interesting of the key anime because it was... messy. Like, some of the stuff it was trying to do, like, we're going to turn the lead into a crow.
Yes.
And we're going to see things happen from the viewpoint of the crow. Like, yes, it it didn't really work, but deciding to do that was an interesting choice. Clannad was fine. I even would argue that I think there's merit in the first season of Clannad. I think there's even merit in the second season, even if I think some of the choices made are horrific. Not telling Nagisa that she's probably going to die if she carries her pregnancy term is fucking monstrous.
Yeah.
There's just no excuse for it. I also don't think that's legal in Japan. I'm pretty sure it's not.
Well, yes.
Particularly given that Japan... Abortion from a legal standpoint is not contentious in the slightest there, so... But I can look at Clannad and see, I understand why people really connect with this, and I also think there's absolutely merit in the stories it tells within it. Again, I would never go back and watch it again. God, I had that friend who... She saw it on Netflix, and it was like, wait, that was your entry to anime?
Yeah.
I don't know what else would even compete. San Euphonium's first season's quite good.
Oh, yeah, you did like that.
I did enjoy that. Can't stand Haruhi Suzumiya. Oh, God.
Big fan of Keon over here, or Chunibyo, or...
Munto.
Anyway.
God, I wonder if they'll ever get to actually finish making Munto.
No, they won't.
My God, the amount of times they started making it and didn't finish. But yes.
We should move on. I mean,
we managed to talk about that for a long time.
We were always going to talk. It's outside of like maybe, I mean, in terms of, because there was like the earthquake in 2011 and the subsequent nuclear disaster.
Well, and the tsunami, don't forget that part.
Yeah, but earthquake, tsunami, they're all connected.
I mean, the tsunami's what killed the most people.
Yes. But like but like this is so specific to anime and so targeted, it's just like, there's never been anything like this. It's shocking.
It's tragic.
Yeah.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It is genuinely painful to think about.
It also didn't happen until 2019, so we're actually talking about it too early. But we brought it up because Violet Evergarden.
But again, it's nothing like this has ever happened in the industry.
No. And hopefully never will.
And now you have all these folks who are copycatting, who are sending threats to studios saying, look what happened to them, I'm going to do that to you.
Yeah, I've heard about them.
Which is horrible, but we should move on. A place further than the universe?
Yeah, let's actually talk about, let's talk about something happy. Let's talk about Place Further.
It's happy, but actually it does also contend with grief.
Oh yeah, it does. Place Further than the Universe is the Antarctic Girls show, which you may have heard of. It's the one where a bunch of teenage girls all decide to go to Antarctica, in part because one of their mum was an Antarctic researcher. It's kind of basically like Made in Abyss.
Yeah, it's just like Made in Abyss, including getting, like, attacked by horrific creatures in Antarctica.
Yes, penguins.
But yes, the girl who sets it all in motion, her mother was a scientist who disappeared in Antarctica during a research trip.
Yeah.
And ever since, she has been determined to go back to Antarctica, allegedly to find her mother, although this isn't a case where you have someone who's genuinely delusional about their mom still being alive.
No.
She definitely... She presents it as, I'm going to find my mom, but you also can tell, like she's saying this because she needs closure rather than she expects to find mom chilling out in the Antarctic.
The story feels more about, because like while she's the sort of driving force, she's not the main character.
Yeah, I think it's more about there's another, God, I wish I could remember their names. One of the girls...
She's just a normal, everyday... The story's about doing something with your life. Doing something...
Yes. Finding something.
Yes.
And because the primary girl we start with, she's unremarkable, is probably the best way of putting it. And she, in encountering this girl who has been working to all these, jobs to try to raise money so she can go, because she finds the money she dropped.
Oh, yes.
It's all in cash, and she returns it to her. And it's her coming up against someone who does have this big goal in life and is working toward it, and having this sort of realization of, like, I don't actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of bobbing along in the currents and letting that be what I do.
Yeah.
And there ends up being two other girls who get involved too, including the one who actually makes it possible for them to go.
Oh, the idol?
No, she's not an idol. She's a child actor.
Yes. But they're trying to turn into an idol by, well, kind of like a reality TV.
Personality.
A personality. One of those ones who appears on Japanese game shows and has the reaction face in the bottom corner.
Yeah, kind of.
She's going to be one of those.
And they come across her and they get her involved. Because then it ends up being, oh, well, here's what's going to get us onto the research ship. It's that the child star is going to do basically a documentary covering the research vessels.
In part so they can get
teams.
Funding.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult to get funding for Antarctic missions.
Yeah.
This is a fun show.
This is a really good show.
I think you definitely liked it a lot more than me, granted. Yeah. But I'm very fond. I'm very fond of it. I appreciate what its message is, as much as usually these kind of shows
don't work for you
at all.
You don't need to yell.
Sorry. Usually as these don't work for me at all. This one did. I think in part because they have a kind of a sense of humor about their trials. Like, it's almost like, this is slightly silly that I care about this so much, and then I'll go, and then, but it's still like, yeah, but you matter.
Yeah.
It strikes the right tone, which is really difficult to do.
And the child star being the means by which they do end up getting to go to Antarctica. It's not done in a, like, fairy godmother wave the wand sort of way.
Oh, yeah.
They've been trying to raise money to that point themselves and to convince... because the girl whose mother died in Antarctica Well, she has a relationship with the other researchers who were on the trip with her, and she's been trying to convince them to bring her along, and they're like, seriously? You're like 16. No.
The great scene where their strategy for trying to get on the boat
God, yeah.
is to try chat up the older men, the like 20...
Well, the like 20-year-old guys.
Like, and they just go up there like, hey.
Yeah.
And the back, oh god, it's brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a heartfelt show.
It's a heartfelt show. It's funny.
It's really good.
It was also a pretty big, like not pretty big.
It did very respectably.
It did very respectively. I'm kind of surprised there hasn't been any second season announcement yet.
I mean, I don't know what they would do with the second season.
I guess so.
Having loved it, I don't want more of it because it told its story. And there are plenty of shows that I look at and I'm like, your first season was a perfectly well-contained story and it was good. But the money came in and you're like, let's make more. Yeah. And I wish you hadn't.
Yeah. So we are, though, now at the stage of the decade in which we're close enough now to the present that some of these could still get second seasons.
True.
I could definitely see.
Well, so Place Further Than the Universe got mentioned frequently in the same breath as your camp, which is getting a second season.
True, yes. Two of them came out at the same time. I think because
they aired at the same time.
They're both a bunch of like 16-year-old girls going outdoors and doing stuff.
16-year-old girls finding themselves and doing outdoorsy stuff, and both shows that respected their casts.
Eurocamp is they're going camping. But it's also a lot more... This one's a lot more just lighthearted and comedic. There's no goal in mind.
Yeah.
Beyond just like hanging out and camping
and
shit. Yeah,
if Place Further Than the Universe is about, finding oneself in a more substantial sense and also about dealing with grief. Eurocamp is, it's much more lighthearted. It's also much more technically detailed.
It doesn't have a plot.
Yeah. But there is an awful lot about, like, this is how you should pitch a tent.
Yes.
This is how you can use pine cones to start a fire. This is the type of equipment you should consider getting for initial camping. But A Place Further Than the Universe, one more thing I would like to say about it, because I said the thing about respecting your cast. And I do think it's important to point that out about both of them, because so many of these cute anime girls doing things shows don't respect their casts at all, and both of these do, and I would go so far as to say I would make the argument that A Place Further Than the Universe, in treating its cast with respect and treating their fears and hopes so seriously, I would argue it's one of the few examples of feminist anime.
This one? Mm-hmm. I guess so.
I don't say that about Eurocamp just because I didn't watch as much with it. I can appreciate what Eurocamp is doing. Yeah. It also didn't do anything for me.
I liked what little I watched, but then I forgot to go back.
It's like, well, this is nice. Okay, well, I'm going to go over here and do something else. I know people loved this show.
Oh, yes. It was.
This was a hit.
And it's got a lot of like little keychains and stuff I saw them for sale when we were in Japan.
They had branded camping equipment.
Of course they did.
Because I remember anime fans I know who like camping, contemplating and trying to resist buying some of the camping equipment.
That's pretty great.
Because it was like, well, it looks like it's legit, but like, I don't actually need a branded,
Bunsen burner or whatever.
Yeah, or like pot or whatever.
Anyway. So, I would say the biggest show... So, these were all, like, pretty big successes. However, I'd say the biggest show in the West...
Oh, yes.
Like, kind of...
By a long shot.
Sort of came out of nowhere. Like, people knew... Okay, so... Devilman Crybaby.
Yes. And I will say this. Anime fans were definitely hype prior to airing.
Yes.
Because it was a fairly storied franchise plus Yuasa.
Yeah. But it's only a specific type of anime fan, which Yuasa stuff has never been a hit with mainstream audience at all, ever. Like, there is a select, like, kind of, I want to say elitist, that's maybe too extreme, but, like, not that many people actually watch Tatami Galaxy. It didn't even get licensed in America, for example.
Well, it was. It didn't get a home release.
Oh, yeah.
But granted, people were also screaming about that for years because it got a home release in the UK.
UK, yes.
People imported it.
I mean, that's kind of the example, like...
Yuasa is a cult figure.
He's an auteur. And
an
like
auteur who really loves nipples.
Yes, and then Go Nagai, who used to be like the godfather of pervy. Well, no, he's like... If what's the name? What's Astro Boy author? I feel Tezuka.
Tezuka loved tits.
Tezuka, yes. Well, all the early authors like tits.
Yes.
Rumiko Takahashi loved tits. Tezuka is the god of anime.
Okay.
God of manga.
I would like to point out though that there are other early folks who were not in love with tits. Like you look at, for example,
Gegege no Kitaro guy.
Yes, he was not drawing tits much.
True, fair enough.
No, I was also thinking of some of the, shoujo, like Moto Hagio. She appreciated tits. She didn't love tits. It might be the better way of putting it. She's not a great example. I'm trying to think of her dear brother, Rosa Versailles.
Oh, yes, there's no tits in that. I don't remember her name.
Well, Keiko Takamiya.
Okay.
She's also not in love with tits. She was a BL author.
Oh, she was in love with man titties.
Yes,
oh no, was this the very old-fashioned BL, which are like, it's weird, it's kind of
everything's wispy.
Wispy and airy, and like, at most they like hold their hand on the other person's chin.
Ryoko Ikeda. God,
okay.
How could I not think of her name? Which is ironic, not in love with tits, despite definitely having, Yuri adjacent work. But yeah, so
anyway,
tits.
But I was trying to say
Devilman Crybaby.
I was saying if Tezuka is the god of anime, then like Go Nagai is like the pervy uncle of manga, basically.
Yeah,
god of manga.
That's not a bad way of putting it.
And Devilman Crybaby though is his most celebrated work, and honestly his most popular. It was things like Mazinger and Cutie Honey. Yeah. Cutie Honey is probably his biggest, but like Devilman
Cutie Honey is an interesting example too, in that it migrated out of like the pulpy area into, there's a shoujo series. Was it Cutie Honey Flash?
Yeah,
maybe
like
was
that.
The one.
Yeah.
But there was one that was no shit made for like 7-year-olds.
Yes. Whereas the original was all like, oh no, I'm being caught naked.
Oh, my clothes exploded for the 48th time this week. Gosh, my clothing budget's terrible.
Yes. But so Devilman Crybaby is his most celebrated work, and so this, for people who are in the know, this was like, oh shit, what are they going to do? But like most people didn't have a fucking clue who either of these people were.
Yeah. It was sort of like, oh, Go Nagai is this well-regarded person. Oh, Yuasa's this well-regarded person by some parts of fandom. Oh, this should be interesting type thing.
Yes. And then it came out on Netflix, like all at once, didn't it?
Yes. And it was dropped at once.
Blew up the internet, like
my God,
hell.
Everybody was watching it.
Like, and people way outside of anime fandom typically.
When Evangelion dropped on Netflix, like everybody was just, people were watching it who'd never seen it before, and it was huge. I think Devilman Crybaby actually was bigger.
Right, that you might be right.
I think it was.
It was just the level of...
And don't you remember it came out like, because we were in the US, it was after Christmas.
Oh, it did. It came out like very early January.
And we watched a few episodes of it, partly because we could.
Yeah.
We didn't like it.
It's fucking awful.
I remember watching...
I hate this thing.
Did we watch 2 or 3 episodes?
I watched 2.
I just remember after the first episode, the credits rolling and thinking... That wasn't very good.
I was like, that was it?
And
really?
Because people were mad about this show. And I remember turning to you and we were like, what?
I fucking hate this thing.
So we watched the second episode because we were trying to understand why people were so into it. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be like, well, you should have watched at least X amount of episodes and you would have understood. But I just... I should admit, I'm not really a Yuasa fan, first of all.
See, there is stuff I fucking love Kaiba. I love
Tatami Galaxy.
Yes.
I struggle to think of anything else he's done that I feel like that about.
But yes.
Yeah.
So,
he's, I don't know. He doesn't work for me, which is fine.
But the more prevalent point here is that I've hated everything I've ever seen, read anything by Go Nagai.
I don't really like Go Nagai.
I don't like Go Nagai at all. And
there are so I will say this, there are some of the gayer spin-offs from Cutie Honey, like the manga and such, which he hasn't written himself for the most part. Some of them I'm like, oh, I kind of enjoy this in a trashy, pulpy, lesbian pulp manner. Yes. But I seem to recall at least a little bit of Devilman Lady.
Oh, yes.
Finding that a little, like, again, in the, like, lesbian pulp end of the spectrum enjoyment. But and I know he's important. I know that he's massively important. I would never underrate that. Although, I also saw when this came out that people were claiming, like, oh, Go Nagai invented magical girls. And it was like, no, he fucking didn't. Shut up. Like, I'm sorry, he didn't. He did not.
He invented pervy magical girls.
He invented magical girls for men.
Yes. It's probably the best way to put it.
He didn't invent magical girls, okay?
No.
But he is massively influential.
Yeah.
I would say on the whole, he's a net positive for the industry, even if I don't like all of the things that his approach has led to. I think you can't underrate that he's important.
What you're saying is Kekko Kamen was a masterpiece.
Oh my god, I saw Kekko Kamen on a VHS with a friend, and I want to say it was like a bargain bin find. It was what is this shit?
Who are you watching Kekko Kamen with?
Okay, I was like 13. It was a friend of mine. So I had my friend when I was in middle school who was my parents are divorced and they feel endless guilt about it. So my allowance is outrageous, which means I can afford all these things.
I can afford to buy Kekko Kamen.
Well, oh my god. So, you used to order anime out of a catalog.
Okay.
So she would order out of a catalog, but she'd order random volumes of things.
Yeah.
Okay. She ordered for some reason, that was the other thing too. Something that doesn't get talked about much is that with regards to when I was your age, I was an anime fan.
Did she order Legend of the Oak?
Incredibly ridiculous. So, because anime wasn't a huge industry, a lot of times you would run up against incredible wait times for things to ship because they weren't in stock. And, it was like going into a store and like, oh, they've got volumes 1, 7, and 9 and nothing else. It was like that even from ordering from a warehouse. So this is how I ended up. The first I ever saw of Tenchi Muyo was the final volume that Pioneer released of Tenchi in Tokyo.
Okay.
And we watched it. And of course it didn't make any sense because we hadn't seen anything else. My god, the garbage we watched. Don't Leave Me Alone, Daisy, which is just like a 6 episodes. Yeah. That series is actively terrible. Just, my god. Horrible show.
So what did you and your friend make of Kekko Kamen?
I don't know why she bought, I want to say it was because they had these catalogs, things that would be on sale. And I want to say it was one of those ones that they were trying to get rid of the tapes because no one wanted to watch it. You'd also, you'd order volume, I'm going to order volume 1 and 2 of this thing, and volume 2 would show up 4 weeks later, and volume 1 would show up 3 months later.
Yeah.
I tried for so long to buy, it took me so long to get my hands on a copy of Haunted Junction.
Okay.
Because I ordered it through Borders, and it kept not being in stock anywhere. I think it took 6 months for me to get that. This is what it was like back then. But yes, Kekko Kamen bargain bin.
So this is... Anyway.
That show bewildered us.
I've seen Kekko Kamen.
A lot of what we watched, because we were watching random volumes from the middle of his series, bewildered us. Also, her parents did not in the slightest bit examine what she was buying.
Oh, well, it would for Keko Kamen.
So some of the things I look back and I'm like, I watched this when I was 12. That's fucked up.
We got Legend of the Overfiend for some reason.
Oh my god.
Did you get it? Because I know that was everywhere.
So the one that I have meant for years to actually go back and watch the Final Tenchi Muyo movie because I saw it when I was 12. There's sex in it. But it's not like, ooh, you know, harem bullshit type hentai crap. It's a very mature movie in the sense that the themes that were going on, it wasn't for kids in the sense that I couldn't, and there was a part of me that recognized that at the time, but it's a movie I have meant to go back to because I think, see, now I'm an adult and I've actually experienced romance and sexual attraction and also, you know, loss and everything. I think I would much better appreciate it now. But yeah, there was so much bullshit that it's like, why on earth were we allowed to watch this at that age? Haunted Junction has a character whose tits are out the whole time. And I mean just like tits. Yeah. Just tits are out. Her shirt like maybe covers the top 10% of tit.
Yeah.
My god, this is going to be our longest podcast.
This is a review, in case you know, of the 2010s in anime.
Anyway, yes, so no good guy. Go Nagai. I can appreciate his importance while also not really liking his work.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about...
The point is, I don't get Devilman Crybaby. I just flat out do not get it.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I didn't get it. Admittedly, I just assumed it's two creators I don't really like.
Yeah.
I know this show meant a lot to people. It didn't mean anything to me.
But do you want to continue talking about shit things about sex?
Oh, I guess we're talking about Darling in the Franxx next. I think it's actually technically pronounced Darling in the Franxx.
I know you poo-pooed me on this. This was huge.
I know it was huge.
Like, who was it? It was Kim Kardashian was like, I'm an anime character and dressed up as an anime character. And people were like, who's that? Sailor Moon? And it's like, no, it's what's the name of it?
It was the pink-haired girl.
It was, the main girl from Darling in the Franxx. And it's
all I remember is someone referring to her as, what was it? Magic, instead of like the magic girlfriend, what is it? Manic Pixie Dream Girl. It was like Manic Pixie Semen Demon.
not entirely wrong. This was the new anime by Trigger. No Imaishi, but it was...
Trigger should not be allowed to do anything to do with gender or sex. Or just not anything that's deeper than a puddle.
This got a lot of hype because it was them doing a mech show, and it looked interesting on the outside. If you're into like Trigger and mechs like I am. And it had like all kind of weird sex themes, and you're like, okay, fucking go for it.
I remember because I was sitting here thinking, now why didn't I try this at all and was not interested going in? And I remember my feeling was, oh, more fucking teenagers being hormonal and piloting mechs and being sad. I am sick of this bullshit, no thank you.
We've been talking about how, I've talked a lot about how mech anime this decade were awful. I'd kind of long since given up by this point. But and then, you know, as like a final kick in the balls, here comes Darling in the Franxx. Yeah, so I was saying like Kim Kardashian dressing up, like this thing was everywhere because it had a very anime style that was what people were into. It was well animated. It had like flashy OP. It had all this, and then
it's very colorful.
Yes,
and yes, from what I've seen of action sequences, it's dynamic visually.
It's a bit, and it's not quite as like extreme as this. But
I also feel like for a lot of people, it was Baby's first mech show that wasn't like, I don't know, Gundam.
Yeah.
It seemed like this was because
there had been no big mech shows.
Yeah.
So for many people, it was going to be their first mech show. Mm-hmm. And I felt like also a lot of people's first dealing with oh no, this thing's awful. Like, in the same way that something like Guilty Crown. Like, Guilty Crown is the main... like, it's on that level. It really is on...
Oh, God. And before Guilty Crown, it was...
Dragonaut.
Oh, God. Dragonaut.
Yeah. But, like, I think in terms of just, like, the level of crushing... Like, oh, God, this is awful. Like, it's this and Guilty Crown are the two big ones from the decade.
And, people who were thinking, oh, we're going to get this mech show that has some deeper themes going on. Although... To be quite honest, what mech show in the past 20 years didn't have pretensions to something more meaningful anyway?
Promare, but...
That's
a super robot anyway, so... super robots have always had less interesting themes.
But I mean that seriously. I feel like, if the oft-mentioned criticism of the mech genre is, oh, it's just, giant hulks hitting each other... But when was the last time that was true anyway?
Breakblade was like that.
Yeah, but okay, yes, so you gave me one example. Yes. Wow.
Yeah,
wow, good job.
You're generally right, yeah, but it's it was definitely...
But yes, people are expecting, they're like, ooh, Trigger, it's gonna look amazing, and also, oh, it seems to be, digging into deeper themes and...
of sexuality and so on, and then it turned out it was fucking awfully written. The characters were...
Shinzo Abe loved this show.
Oh God, yeah. It was because ultimately its message was the way to solve the current ongoing low birth rate crisis in Japan is to promote teenage pregnancy.
Oh, and that was the thing too, because I remember early on when I saw people talking about it, I was like, oh, it's that Tomino show from the 90s.
Gundam X?
Oh,
Victory Gundam?
What? No. Forget Gundam. Gundam's pronatal message is arguably there's something going on there without it ever being particularly prominent or blatant.
Okay.
No, it was
brain-powered.
Brain-powered, which I've seen all of, and it's terrible.
Yeah.
Tomino at his... It's issues that it's Tomino not getting reined in at all by other people.
Yes.
But
yeah.
I kept saying, oh, it's just brain-powered for the latest generation. And people got upset with me for that early on. I was right.
There's definitely people who still like it, but they're wrong. There's still people who like Guilty Crown.
It is a 26-episode flip-out about declining birth rates.
Yeah. It's awful.
That presents itself as being... in the early going, at least, somewhat, more transgressive than it actually is because the lead girl wants to have sex.
Oh, yes. I keep thinking she's called, like, 2D or something like that.
No, but she does have a name that's
like that.
Because they all have...
9... No, that's...
They're all named after numbers.
That's near.
They all have numbers.
Yes.
Actually, I think there are 9s later in it, and they're, bad, and you can tell they're bad because they might be queer.
Ah, yes.
No, they all have numbers because the lead boy in it gives them names because they've all had numbers to that point. And he's like, no. And so they do have all names based on numbers, but I forget what hers is. Look, she's the pink-haired girl with horns.
Yes.
And has the Nendoroid that looks like Boss Baby.
So if you... watching anime like this, you start to feel like you're going a bit crazy, but saying like anime's just lost the plot. So at some point, maybe you decide, oh, I know what to do. I'll just watch an anime that is just represents just how kind of insane and crazy the world has gotten, and watch Pop Team Epic.
Oh, I love Pop Team Epic. Pop Team Epic is best described as shitposting in anime form.
It's pure shitposting.
I love it. I love this show, and you did not.
I think I appreciate the originality and kind of like nonsense it goes for.
Well, and the degree to which they let the folks who worked on it off of the chain. Like, yes, there's material that's adapted from the manga, but there's also a decent amount of like, okay, here's a very basic premise, go wild.
Because like there's one, my favorite one is like in the thing, you've probably even seen this because like these get used as reaction gifs all over the internet, like jails for YouTube crimes is my favorite. But then there's one of her going, yes, I understand, and then an arrow pointer saying it doesn't understand at all.
Yes.
And they took that one panel and made this long ongoing joke of a French bloke explaining situations that happen in Japan while everyone talks in French. Meanwhile,
he's an animator.
He's an animator, yeah. He's like an animator who worked on the show. And he's
explaining stuff in French, and it's not subtitled.
Oh, yes.
And also you have, and along with these bits, you have the characters, Pipimi and Popko, or whatever her name is.
Oh, Babu Team.
Well, but they also have the sequences where they're in France, and they're speaking completely in French.
And they don't translate it.
Nothing's translated.
Because the whole joke is supposed to be, yes, I understand. No, I don't. Because when they open each scene, it's always got the girl in the bottom corner doing the nodding and saying, yes, I understand.
And she's nodding along to the narrative. And it's just, I loved this show.
Do you want to talk, are you thinking about, what's the name? Are you thinking about Hell Shake Yano?
Oh, okay, folks. Hands down, the most creative thing I have seen anime done in at least the last 10 years was Hell Shake Yano.
Yeah. Where
Hell Shake Yano is, they did an entire sequence. So Hell Shake Yano is mentioned occasionally in the show. He is part of a rock band, and
I thought it was a she, but okay.
No, it's a dude.
Okay.
And he is part of this rock band, and they have electric guitars.
Yeah.
And he's known for his shredding. And there's a joke early on where it's like, someone is not paying attention to something, and it's like, well, I was thinking about Hell Shake Yano.
And everyone goes, of course.
Yes, of course you were. Well, so we get this thing, and it's about how Yano became known as Hell Shake. And it was that he was playing a show.
Don't spoil.
Well, he's playing a show. Okay, I'll leave it at that, and I won't go into any further. But this entire sequence is done with paper.
A flip book.
It's a flip book, and they fold things out.
Yes.
And they move the drawings around, and it's incredible.
And it's shot with a camera, and you can see the two people moving the book in the background wearing lab coats. It's
they're the voice actors.
Oh yes, they go like, yeah.
I watched it with my jaw dropped. I really did, because it's incredible.
And then there was
if you don't watch anything else from the show, I think you should watch that sequence.
And then there was the fact that every episode of Pop Team Epic aired the same episode twice in a row, but with different voice actors.
Yeah.
Like, every single week was that, and you were just like,
yeah, there was a set of male voice actors and a set of female voice actors.
And I remember genuinely, like, when you watch the first episode, you're like, did this break?
Or you think like, oh, haha, funny joke there.
And they do it for every single episode.
Yeah. Oh, the other big one was, they parodied one of Earth, Wind, and Fire's music videos.
Oh my god, okay.
Which is just... And that's what I mean when I say they just let people go completely off the chain.
And with characters, like, made out of wire cleaners, like... Oh, no, it wasn't... Yeah.
Man.
It is worth pointing out that, like, the heights are great, but a lot of the jokes are just, like, shitpost reference.
Well, and the Pop Team... which is hideous looking. And one of the weeks they're like, people said we didn't have enough animation.
And then this really weird, like,
and so they do this incredibly fluid dance sequence in Bob Team Me, which
looks
ugly as hell. I love this show.
Maybe Pop Team Epic is okay. It's just like these moments are hilarious, followed by a lot of just self-referential or just general referential garbage.
There's this one that's a reference to, it's like 80s murder mystery type dramas.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it and I'm thinking, I know what you're doing here, and I can appreciate what you're doing here, but it also does nothing for me.
Yes, there's a lot. It is.
But yes, I love Pop Team Epic.
And this, like, I don't think it really hit abroad. Like, it's usage for shitposting formats, but in reality...
Well, I know it did well enough that, I know the manga got released.
Yeah, but the
English.
manga's been a hit. The manga's been a hit. But, like, in Japan, I felt like I was seeing Pop Team... Like, they do... Pop Team Epic do collabs with everything.
They did a collaboration with the Japanese Racing Association, although, to be fair, that JRA... Oh, this is horse racing, by the way. JRA does a lot of... they're doing a Gundam Seed collab. Of course, the most famous collab is Uma Musume, but we'll get to that later.
Then there was like, what's the name of that drum game? The Taiko drums?
Oh, you did the OP!
And
you were terrible!
And they were advertising like, we're collabed with Pop Team Epic. It's like, Jesus, this thing's bloody everywhere. Yeah.
That was in an arcade in Tokyo.
Yeah, I played the Taiko drums.
He was terrible at it.
I got better at this. I actually was quite good at the Pop Team Epic OP.
I just remember there being small children who were kicking your ass.
Yeah. Well, no, because then I felt okay, because then I saw clearly like another tourist family, because they weren't white, but they weren't Asian, and like doing much slow, and it's like, oh, it's okay to suck, because then I saw some regular.
Of course, I had also just like completely shat the bed at the Love Live arcade.
Oh, you had no idea what you were doing.
Oh my god, that was difficult.
At least I figured out how to play Pop Team Epic. Not Pop Team Epic. Anyway, so another show that was actually really big in Japan, and I didn't realize it until I saw the sales data for this, was Takagi-san. What was the full name? It's like Takagi-san...
Teasing Master Takagi-san. Karakai no Josu Takagi-san, I think.
Something like that, yeah. Which is best described as...
our early relationship.
In which a boy who's all like, oh, she always teases me. I'm going to make it so she blushes so I can tease her. But then he fails and she teases him more and goes, oh, aren't you sweet?
He falls for everything.
Yes.
He's silly.
This doesn't seem remotely familiar to any part of my life whatsoever. It's very sweet. I actually quite enjoyed that. I end up getting bored of the form. It shouldn't have been a full-length episode. They should have run... This show, I think, I preferred... The short from earlier in the decade, remind me its name, the Seki Tonari no Seki-kun.
Oh god, you needed a prompt for that name?
Tonari no Seki-kun. I prefer Tonari no Seki-kun. I think it's a better version of this. This, though, is more kind of like sweet and charming, whereas Tonari no Seki-kun is just pure, legitimately funny. But I think it's more like the structure. Like, Tonari no Seki-kun is 7-minute long episodes. That's what this needed to be. It was too long. It ended up getting
like 12-minute episodes.
Yeah. But Japan fucking loved it. They got a second season and everything. It's been a shockingly big hit over there. And I said it's very sweet, because they're like middle school.
Season 2 ended up getting licensed by Netflix, which I think was unexpected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know people wanted to watch it, and then it was like, no, Netflix.
Then there were a bunch of sequels.
Yes. Cardcaptor Sakura.
Which is very bizarre that they got a sequel after all these years.
Well...
Because I know it was huge. Like, Cardcaptor Sakura...
It was pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I think about magical girl properties in the 90s...
I mean...
Oh, I mean, Sailor Moon's obviously the biggest, but thinking about other competitors...
It has to be. Cardcaptor Sakura defined a generation.
It's possibly, what's the one? Doremi.
I think in Japan maybe.
Okay, but Doremi, but I can't remember the full name of that series. It's basically Clumsy Witch Doremi.
Yeah, I know. Which
also is more. It's closer to the original, genre of...
I think the thing with Cardcaptor Sakura though was like, so this is long before I got into anime, the original, but then when, God, we've spent so much of this episode talking about like anime not from this decade, but like once I got into anime fandom, there was like, it felt like there was a generation of anime fans who were defined by their love of Cardcaptor Sakura. And, like there's just a whole...
Cardcaptor Sakura was one of those shows that the hacked up TV dub...
Oh yeah.
People who saw that were like, ooh, I really like this show, and then fell down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Because this is, my God, the degree to that. I think if you are accustomed to, the sorts of releases anime get on TV now, the degree to which this was hacked to bits would be shocking.
One of the most infamous examples.
We're talking about, I think, like, they reduced the first season from something nutty like, so much of it was just left out entirely. 70 episodes was probably reduced to around 30-something.
Well, there was also the part where they were like, oh, but this is too girly.
Yeah, they tried to make
it for
the boy.
boys.
Well, they tried to make the boy in it a co-star, and he's not in the original, and it doesn't really work.
Where rather than taking the much more obvious approach of going like, well, this is a magical girl who's cute but gets shit done, and maybe girls will like this.
Well, also, too, I don't see the point in licensing a property meant for girls and then going, oh, but boys won't like it. What do we do?
Yes. It's
like, why did you license it in the first place?
Yes.
But, yeah, I mean, it's just... And also, episodes were aired out of order. Like, episode... 5 or 6 of the original series was aired as, like, episodes in the 20s were aired before episode 5 or 6 aired. And it's kind of amazing the degree to which it was chopped up and blended. But anyway, Cardcaptor Sakura, Clear Card Arc, Clamp started for one of the anniversaries of Cardcaptor Sakura's manga. They started up a new story arc. Mm-hmm. I liked Cardcaptor Sakura. I also think that what we had of it was good and perfectly contained as a story. I did not see the point in having more of it.
I really thought this would end up being, because of how influential and important Cardcaptor Sakura was, I thought this sequel would kind of be a lot bigger deal. And then, I think partly because it wasn't that good.
Well, yes. But I will point out the first couple of episodes crashed Crunchyroll's website when they dropped.
Yes.
But it wasn't very good.
Yeah.
And people I knew who were reading the manga were like, ooh, this isn't actually very good. And I think people were running up against, wait, why are we making more of this? The story was complete. The sorts of things that they were having to do with it, it's very contrived in a way that the original story was not. Because you're trying to milk a property that really is done. I don't really blame Clamp for doing so. Considering that their, X 1999 is still on pause, and that was probably one of their biggest properties.
It got kicked out of the magazine I was running in for being too violent. Yes.
Yeah. And I struggle to, there are other stuff that's subsequent to that more recent series, Holic and Tsubasa did well, but they're also...
Clamp's name means nothing to new fans.
Or very little at the very minimum.
They were where they were a big name, but Clamp means nothing anymore. They haven't been...
I would say I'm not quite willing to commit to that completely, because new fans do watch Cardcaptor Sakura.
Oh, yes.
I also know... I've noticed new fans watch Ray Earth, which was interesting to me, because to me that would seem archaic to a newer viewer.
New fans also watch Code Geass.
Which has their character designs. Yes, and that's the thing. They became more about doing character designs for shows for a while, because they did one for Code Geass. They did character designs. Well, yes, for Morio no Hako. They did character designs for. There was a light novel series they did character designs for. They did there was a manga Gate 12 or Gate 7 or something. Which
yes.
I don't think they wrote it. I think they just drew it.
Oh, okay. One of those cases.
They haven't been doing a lot of their own stuff. Kobato, it did okay, but it was also only 5 or 6 volumes. It got an anime adaptation.
But that was back in 2008.
Well, yeah, that was ages ago. They keep starting and then stopping with Legal Drug or Drug and Drop.
Yeah. I think ultimately what we're saying here is Clamp
I can see why they did it, but I also think it was the wrong idea.
Clamp kind of don't mean anything in modern anime fans and haven't meant anything for a while, unless you're
Again, people are still watching Cardcaptor Sakura, which...
Cardcaptor Sakura is in many ways eternal. It's one of the biggest, but this sequel was just... It didn't do anything for anyone.
It didn't add anything to what existed prior to it. And
Anyway.
Ill-advised, but Speaking of sequels and magical girls.
Okay.
Hugto Precure.
Oh, magical girls.
The latest version at the time of Precure. I have a lot of feelings about this.
This is the Days Precure Minute.
Yes. So, as I usually preface this with, I do not consider myself a Precure fan. You know, I've watched a few of the series, and I saw the original when it was back on Crunchyroll ages ago.
Oh, before they went legal?
No. Well, I mean, maybe, but I didn't use it before they went legal.
Oh, okay.
No, but they did. It's funny because I'll see people constantly saying, like, oh, can't you pick up Pretty Cure? And, like, you know, they actually did have the license for the first series ages ago. I don't think that many people watched it.
They were all too busy watching Shugo Chara.
Shugo Chara, yeah.
Which was fucking huge for Crunchyroll.
But so Hugto Precure, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot up until... The problem is some of the choices made in the final frame are terrible. And they're actively damaging in a way that I would hesitate to actually recommend this to a child. Because, for the most part, this is a pretty good series. You know, the visuals are decent. The characters are compelling. And it's about, you know, pursuing your dreams. And working toward them and finding your place in the world. Which is a lot of Pretty Cure, to be perfectly honest. And that's fine. And it's well executed. It also... It did a much better handling of the, our magical pet is also a hot guy thing than, yes, Precure did. One of the girls has a crush on him. He's like, yeah, like, no.
Okay.
So I think it handled that well. And there's a lot about, because there's time travel in it, and you have characters who, the bad guys are trying to stop time to prevent a tragic future from happening.
I remember you talking about all this.
So it's interesting because the bad guys are very sympathetic off the bat because what they're trying to do is prevent something horrible from happening.
Wow, so it's just like Gurren Lagann.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Also, the villains are probably, like the villains who've been beaten, are probably better integrated into the overall story than... Granted, I haven't seen every Pretty Cure, but as far as I'm aware, it's the best execution of integrating the villains into the storyline. You know, they become regulars who are run across and provide guidance for the girls. But the end is... I'm going to spoil it, because there's no way for me to talk about otherwise. So in the ending, we realize in the final... 8 or 9 episodes, I started having bad feelings. Because the main villain, you start getting the implication that he might have been married to one of the girls in the future. And you get some implications about this, and it's like, oh, well, this is why he's trying to stop time, because something bad happened to her. And... you know, a character going back in time and trying to stop things who... It's just the way it's executed. Because it isn't... They don't leave it just at like, hey, we have figured out that this character was married to this other character in the future. He starts cornering this girl. She's like 13 or 14. He's in his 30s. Even if it's like, oh, well, you know, he's a child predator at that point. And it's creepy as hell. And there's this sequence in which the lead has a dream in which she's in a wedding dress with him. She is a child. And it's really creepy. I can't tell someone in good faith to watch this because even if, you know, 3/4 of it's really good, you still have that element. Yeah, you have a 30-something-year-old man stalking a 14-year-old and cornering her and giving her flowers. And it's just like, whoa, this is bad. And then the epilogue of the show, the lead's giving birth. And it's implied he's the one who's coming along. And it's like, oh, show, what were you thinking? There's no problem with having an epilogue in which a character is giving birth. But when it's then like, oh, hey, remember the villain who was stalking her? Yeah. It's like, oh my god. And yes, you know it's a version of the villain who wasn't stalking her at the time because it's him when he was younger. But it's still... It's creepy and it ruins the rest of the show. I'm glad I watched it, but I can't recommend it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I just watched a few weeks ago the Macross Delta movie.
Oh, yes.
It's kind of a mess.
Oh.
Well, they compress the TV
is it just a
series.
recap?
Oh, yes, it is.
Oh.
With some changes.
Oh, I'm less interested now.
I would say my feelings maybe could be summed up with one of the few bits of entirely new content was the women of Valkyrie, however you want to say. I don't remember how they say it in the show. It's a bath scene. And it's like, oh yes, what I needed was Freya being groped to check her boob size.
Okay. Well, look.
And then like, oh, you know, you gotta work on your musculature.
Yeah. I assume though that like this is required by law. Is that they have to have a boob? They have to have bare lady nipples in every single.
Well, they didn't have nipples though.
Wait, they didn't?
No.
Then why are they even doing it?
Because groping scene.
That's the whole reason you put in the boob scene.
That's nice, dear.
That's
Anyway, and that was one of the few bits of addition. It was like, wait, really? That was annoying. It's just... Also, I swear they went out of their way to pick, like, the worst songs from the franchise to put in the movie. Like, we didn't get, you know, Anya no Ko gear. It's just like... What were you even thinking? I will say this. There are a couple of the performance outfits that they used, and I was like, okay, this is okay. Which is in contrast to the TV series where it's like, who the fuck designed this? This is hideous.
Did they at least sing Ikenai Borderline?
God, now I can't remember. They must have.
They must have. It's like the song.
Oh, and the thing that I didn't... They changed the way that Freya and Hayate meet.
I don't even remember. They have something to do with apples.
Yeah, she's been smuggled in the crate of apples and he's working for the ship.
Oh, yeah.
They don't come into the organization in the same way together, which I liked in the TV series. Anyway, yeah, just kind of disappointing.
Anyway, we'll do a quick blast through because we got a whole bunch of other TV series here that came this season, such as Citrus.
Oh God!
Which I
a much better adaptation than the material deserved.
It's one of these Yuri mangas that's like
really trashy,
a pretty trashy Yuri manga. Very good adaptation, and like the main character's kind of fun.
Oh, I love her. From the manga reading it, she was one of those characters. Like I want to say, her sweetie, come over here. Let's talk about your sexuality and the fact that you don't have to be, like, emotionally blackmailed by your abusive stepsister into a relationship with her because she has issues she needs to see a therapist for.
I think something I've realized over the past couple of years is that I actually really like Kogal characters. Like, there's Galko-chan, there's Onagai Muscle.
They're usually great.
They're fun, they're allowed to be.
They're allowed to be fully human in a way that other character types aren't.
They're allowed to express their feelings more. They're allowed to think about sex, for example.
They're allowed to screw things up.
Yes.
And not instantly be consented like, you're a terrible human being pile.
I enjoy Kogals. The more anime should have Kogals in them.
So yes, I love the lead of Citrus. I love her friend who is trying to... You know, her friend doesn't exactly know all the time what's going on, but is trying to be a supportive friend.
Yeah.
Although you do want to say, look, her abusive stepsister's trying to fuck her. Maybe you should help her by, like, introducing her to, I don't know, the police.
Anyway.
But there's also, okay, so I saw all of Hakata Tonkotsu Ramen's, which is like, what if Durarara with most of the fun taken out? And I say that as someone who didn't like Durarara.
Yes.
I watched the whole thing.
Why?
I don't know. I couldn't stop watching. I don't know. Sometimes you watch things even if... I was scoffing a lot of the time.
You hate watched it.
Sort of.
Oh, so at some point, I get this because I did this with Mahoka. Sometimes you just keep watching a thing to be like, there must be something good about this.
Yeah.
It becomes like
It gets better, but it's also...
Well, that's opposite to our arc, because every arc would start interesting and then like end as like...
Peter out.
Peter out.
I suppose the most interesting thing about it was that one of the leads is Chinese and he wears women's clothes. But he's not cross-dressing. He likes women's clothes. He thinks it's cute. Like, there's one thing where he gets pissed because he's like, he's working as a low-level criminal for hire for some Yakuza outfit at the beginning of it.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole point is he's like, ooh, this way I can pay for, like, my cute purse and shoes.
Okay.
And he gets really pissed at some point because someone scuffs his shoe or something.
Okay.
And there's another point where he gets into a fight with people who are like, oh, wait, you're a dude. What the fuck? You're a pervert, you weirdo, and trying to jump him and, you know, he, like, breaks their arm or something.
Like, I could see that in a Durarara world being entertaining.
Well, and...
Like, that being a well-written character.
I kind of appreciate that it's just this blunt presentation, like, well, why does he wear women's clothing? Well, he thinks it's cute, and he likes it. And it's nothing more than that. I kind of can dig that. You know, rather than some of the tortured ways in which anime get male cast members into women's clothing. Yes. Or, like, the really weird attempts at, you know...
The traps.
Oh,
yes.
Don't even use that
word. Yeah.
That's... Yeah, with him it's just like, no, he likes... pretty shoes.
Yeah. Anyway.
I think it had a lot of women who are shipping the leads.
Oh. For people who watch it. Anyway. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Gakuen baby shitters. Which they always pronounce as baby shitter.
You say this as if you watched it.
I watched a couple of episodes.
I watched more than you did. I watched like 7 episodes.
Did you not watch the whole thing?
It killed me that every time they're like, baby shitter. And I'm like... I liked this for the most part, but then they tried to do romance, and I did not have the patience to watch awkward teen romance. I was like, it's fun watching these characters try to look after these little agents of chaos.
Yes.
But I'm not interested in their love lives at all.
It was one of these shoujo series in which the teenage boys take care of babies. This has been a genre... like a subgenre within shoujo.
Yeah, off and on.
Yeah.
Like, I Shit Tears a Baby.
There's a bunch, like... But there hasn't been one in a while, but yeah, this is one of those. And the babies are always drawn in this very specific style of, like, perfectly round blob.
Yeah. Oh, God. You know what really turned me off the show, though? There's this running gag that one of the supporting cast, like, he loves babies and gets really... enthusiastic about babies, but like he gets nosebleeds, and it's this. You're looking at it and you're like,
you know what nosebleeds are a metaphor for.
I feel like it seems as if you were making a joke about him being a child predator, but I'm also not like maybe the anime was trying to tone it down. So, but it's weird and it keeps getting repeated, and it's like, ooh. Why did we introduce this element? This is making me really uncomfortable. Oh yeah, it also had hot moms.
Oh, that's true.
Because the reason there's this babysitter club at all is that the school has a babysitting service for teachers.
Okay.
So like that's kind of cool because you know you have all these women who are working as teachers, and well they're able to because there's this childcare thing there, and. You know, that's kind of cool. I dig that. And the moms, like, some of them were, like, elite level anime women.
Anime
like,
hot moms.
I was like, oh, this woman's great. But yeah, it's, the romance is like, I don't care. This is not why I'm watching this. And then also the guy got nosebleeds over babies.
Yeah. Next up, we have the winner of maybe one of the best OPs to an anime you never watched.
Kokoku.
Just, like, drop what you're doing and go watch the Kokoku opening. It is... Like, it's a song that starts up, you're like, well, this is unique. And then it keeps going, like, this is really good. And then there's a key change. You're like, dude, what are they going for? And then it finishes like, that was fucking incredible from start to finish. It's a mind-blowingly good OP. And the show starts super, super interesting. It's like this working class family with like a single mom, layabout, useless. She is a single mom, isn't she?
Who is?
Oh no, she's not single.
No, she's not.
No, she has to take care of she has to take care of her granddad and her.
Is it like her nephew?
No, it's a Hikikomori brother, I think.
No, I thought she has like a shunned brother, but doesn't she have a little nephew
yes,
also?
Yes, nephew. She's not a mom.
No, she's not a mom.
She's quite young. But it's like a very working...
She's trying to get a job.
Yes.
And she's struggling with the fact that, well, when it comes down to it, even with having some education, she doesn't have basically the cultural know-how to get hired into these jobs, because she shows up and it's just... I mean, it's something that's been observed. There's been a lot of ink spilled about this in the West, of the difficulty being, it's not just about getting the education. It's also, it's class. Knowing how to dress right. Knowing, how to interview. Having, like, the cultural references and all that.
It's a rare case of an anime about working class things. And then, like, it reveals that this big... Then someone gets shot and... It then goes into this really weird, like, science fiction-y, magical realism stuff in which,
because then it becomes like...
It's time stopping.
Doesn't the nephew get kidnapped?
Yes.
And it ends up being like, the people who kidnapped the kid are trying to...
get their time-stopping powers, basically.
Well, but they're asking... But before they realize that, they're like, why they're getting asked for ransom, and they're like, we have basically no money. We're week to week type existence thing. Why are they trying to get this? What the hell is going on? And it ends up focusing around the young woman and her grandfather.
Yes,
and there's this time stopping thing.
It runs in the family anyway, and then it gets into all this really weird, like, conspiracy, sci-fi, time stoppy, crazy monster shit. It kind of falls apart.
Which is too bad, because you don't get that much of working class families.
It's a fascinating series that didn't work. But again, go search out the OP.
It was also on Amazon, which didn't help with getting eyeballs on it.
Yeah.
And bizarrely enough, Yasuomi Umetsu did the character designs.
Oh yeah, because then the ending is all like, check out this booby lady. After, like, spending the whole series, like, really doing her a lot of justice as, like, a character and treating her as a human. Then at the end, the ending song is all like, yeah, I've got hot pants and no top. Check me out, boys. So,
I don't think it goes quite that far, but it's definitely of his sort of aesthetic.
Yes.
Who, by the way, I don't know that many anime fans knew who the hell he is anymore. No. He was the one who did Kite.
Yes.
Or Kaito, or
Mezzoforte.
Yeah, Mezzoforte. Wizard Barristers. He also... Didn't he direct Galilei Dona?
Yes.
He had to have, because there's a courtroom scene at the end.
Okay.
He's someone who was a bigger thing a while back, and I think this is the first thing he touched in anime in a while, but...
Anyway.
Oh god, there's also Killing Bites. This could have been good in a trash sense. To me.
Okay.
So this is like... It's
sort of like...
It's Ikitosen, but the characters transform into semi-animal.
It's so in Terraformers, they have the powers of, like, certain types of bugs. So it's like this, but they have the powers of these certain... and they get, like, the bug features on them.
Yes, and the main girl is Honey Badger.
Yeah, so in this one, they're animals, and she's a honey badger, so she kicks butt, because everyone knows honey badgers kick butt.
And basically, to me, this could have been great trash, because,
it's etchy.
Look, if I'm going to watch a fan service show, you could at least let the cast of women be kicking ass and tearing things apart. And that's... Because there's like they're involved in a tournament to fight each other, and there's like these rich people up in satellites or some shit, and it's this tournament, and I forget what they get if they win, but...
so G Gundam, okay, yes.
Yes, it's G Gundam. But decided to introduce as the sort of audience character is this milquetoast loser.
Oh, God, he's off.
Who then ends up shacking up with the honey badger girl who can't stand him at the time because reasons.
Because he's a loser.
He's sufficiently enough a loser that the first episode he meets her because he's driving the van for his creepo friends.
Who are all going to gang rape her.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are things like, hey, drive the van. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll drive the van. And then they grab this girl off the street and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
And they're going to rape her. And he's like, guys, that's a bad idea. But he's still driving. And you're like, you're sitting there, you're thinking, this show thinks that this guy is a decent guy and he's not.
Yeah.
But then, of course, she transforms into her honey badger self and just murders all the guys. And at that moment, I'm like, yes, fuck yes. But then she doesn't also murder the guy who drove. And it's like, this might not be going the way I want it to go. But yeah, that was kind of disappointing. I saw a bit of Sanrio Boys. It's about boys in high school who love Sanrio characters, but like try to hide it because isn't that socially shameful?
Yeah.
It's as a story about like, hey, dude, it's
I can't
okay.
believe you defend this thing.
It's okay to like cute shit as a guy.
Trash.
Saying it's trash, I think, makes it sound trashy.
No, it reminded me of the dialogue in Gakko and Handsome.
Gakko and Handsome was a work of fucking art.
Gakko and Handsome was a parody.
Yes, but like, fine, okay, you've made your corporate whatever thing. A message of like, hey boys, it's okay to like cute shit isn't the worst thing in the world.
No.
Yeah, but it was a bit boring.
Do you want to talk about something here now? Makia.
Oh, so Makia or Makia, I don't know how it's pronounced. This was the Mario
Promised Flower. Oh,
this was Mari Okada's directorial debut.
I forgot about this.
This
the
was
movie.
Big.
Yes.
I haven't seen it.
I know nothing about
People
it.
who've seen it have really liked it, and people who've seen it have said that they feel like some of Okada's themes that she'll do commonly, this was the best exploration of them. It's primarily an exploration of motherhood.
Okay.
So, people liked it. I haven't seen it, though.
I don't like Mario Okada much.
I would watch it, but I don't think it's been easily available. I think most people saw it at film festivals or anime cons.
Yeah.
But there's one more thing we do have to close on.
Oh, obviously.
The one we mentioned at the start, Michiru Neko. I loved Michiru Neko. You know this because it's the cats in the marching band.
It's the YouTube video that has like 20 million views.
Anyway,
yeah.
I loved the show.
This thing is...
It's a short. It's for children. It's also of that stripe of children's entertainment that's a bit weird.
Weird and like almost borderline like...
Some of it is actually horrifying if you give it any thought.
Like vaguely existential horror. It's actually pretty funny.
There's this one bit where you start... So the episodes are short, but they have like shorts within the short.
30-second jokes, basically.
And, some of them are... It's absurdist type things, but... some of the jokes are a little more straightforward. Like, there's this one where a guy's walking around and he's like, why are all these cats following me? And then it turns out he has, like, a fish printed on his t-shirt.
Okay.
And they're like, ooh, food. But the one that was like, this is fucked up. You start out and it's a family of cats around their dinner table. And they're like, oh, yes, and serving the food. And then suddenly there's a shadow that appears on the father, and out of nowhere, the crane from Crane Games pinches him and starts pulling him up, and his wife and children are like, oh, come back, no, don't take my husband, daddy, come back. And it zooms out, and he's being taken out of there's a guy who's playing a crane game, and he's like, gee, they're really noisy. And it's like, what? This is horrifying.
Go
what?
Look up Michiru Neko.
It's on Crunchyroll too.
It is, yeah.
And
it's on YouTube.
Yeah, it got all So, the only thing is, it might be a little hard to find the episodes because this is part of a larger property that had, it's a children's property. Like, and when I say children's, I mean 5 and under type children's property. So, YouTube also has from the official channel a lot of material doing with the franchise, not just the series.
But it all started with the cat parade.
I was so bummed that when we went to Japan I couldn't find merch, but we also probably looked in the wrong places.
Yeah.
Because I don't think the otaku were watching this.
For shame.
I love this series. Please watch it. But my God, we've gone on it.
This podcast is too long.
We go out on the Michiru Neko song now.
I know. As much as I want to go out on the Kokoku one, like, just go look up the Kokoku one, but we're gonna, like, sing some Michiru Neko.
Okay.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.